Hey family, welcome to another episode of Soulful Conversation with Frank and
Sheila Battle.
Miss Sheila in the house.
Ooh, ooh.
Y'all don't know how happy I am that she riding with me consistently. Cause y'all know Miss Sheila be busy. Just sidebar. She was just in the western part of the state early this week and got back home. Just to let y'all know. Anyway, that ain't why we're here. We appreciate each and every one of you for subscribing, listening to us, your favorite podcast app, and watching on YouTube. We love you all. We appreciate you so much.
We love the comments and the questions.
Yeah.
We love the feedback.
And them DMs keep us with some nice topics that we can kind of talk about. We appreciate those. If you have one, just DM us. You know, check us out on TikTok or Instagram, Facebook. Just DM us. We won't tell nobody.
And like and share those TikToks and short reels on all of the platforms, because while he is talking about how glad he is to have me on here, I'm so proud of my husband and the way that he carefully selects, reels out of, look at his face, out of the podcast. And it's like he knows the exact thing to repost and share. And it causes all of these soulful conversations. And people are saving those reels and saving those small clips. And we hope that they are the fruit or the benefit of having soulful conversations with their partner. Like, we hope that you look at those reels, you look at those short clips, and then you're going to your partner and having the soulful conversation.
Yeah. And we do get feedback from some of those that we really love.
All over the place.
We got one today, as a matter of fact. So, hey, again, today we want to talk about, as our topic, how to recover after a fight. How to recover after a fight.
It's bound to happen, family.
Yeah, because when you're in a relationship, partner, couple, if you're dating someone, getting to know someone, it's inevitable that you're going to have some type of disagreement.
Absolutely.
And we use the word fight.
Loosely.
Thank you. But the big thing here, and the conversation we want to have, is how do you handle when you have those disagreements? Now, I know some of you saw the word fight, and that made you click it. But we're not talking about laying hands.
Please, no.
Not these hands.
Don't do that.
No, we're not talking. We don't advocate none of that on Soulful Conversation with Frank and Sheila.
Call the police.
The only laying of hands that we believe in
is through prayer.
Is through prayer.
Amen.
Hallelujah.
Glory.
So if you ain't laying hands and praying for your spouse, don't do that.
Keep your
don't
hands
touch
to
them.
yourself.
Keep your hands to yourself.
That's right.
So as we get into this topic of how to recover from a fight, let's see how do we navigate?
I think the first thing that we want to emphatically say is that it's going to happen.
It's going to happen.
We said,
it's inevitable.
Frank said it's inevitable, but I think some people fall so deep in love.
Yeah.
And that the first sign of trouble, the first sign of disagreement, the first sign of a challenge, the first sign of adversity, people get whiplash and they go, what? Like, wait a minute, what's happening? And their propensity is to run.
Yeah.
Their propensity is to say, then that you are not my person, and to leave. And the truth is that conflict is actually good.
Yeah.
Because if you are in a relationship with someone and everything is yes and amen 100% of the time, then somebody's lying.
Yeah.
Somebody's lying. If you are with somebody and they just agree, you remember Coming to America?
Mm-hmm.
And Eddie Murphy met the woman that his family had prearranged for him to marry.
Mm-hmm.
And everything out her mouth is, whatever you like, whatever you like.
Bark.
If you're
Earth. Yeah, I remember that scene.
If you are in a relationship and everything that you say, this person is saying whatever you like, they're agreeing with everything, then that's a red flag. And we talked about red flags in the last podcast. But no one should agree with you 100% all the time. There's something about their individuality and their authenticity that's on the line when they just agree with everything that you say. Now, we're not talking about situations that require compromise or situations that require that someone give and someone take. We're not talking about that.
Yeah.
We're talking about when somebody just emphatically agrees with you all the time about everything, for the sake of not having conflict, of not fighting, of there not being challenges.
Right.
There's something about that that's a little unhealthy.
Yeah.
It's just a little unhealthy,
Because
so we want you to be aware of that
it's hard to believe that you're going to agree on everything
all the time.
all the time. And if you're doing that in the interim of a relationship, it's going to get old. And you're not going to be, we like to use this term, authentic self. Are you are you going to be yourself if you're always saying, like Sheila said, yes and amen
To everything.
So, I mean, and another big piece of it, and you touched on a few minutes ago, is when it comes to, and I don't think we're getting this deep into it, but when it comes to like your values and things of that, if you have something that you absolutely emphatically are not with, and it comes up, then that's a conversation
That needs to happen.
because, as we said in the beginning of the podcast here, it's all in how you handle it. And I want to note, too, one thing, that just because you have a disagreement with someone, especially for our single friends who we don't want to leave out, we're really trying to be more inclusive in our conversations, it doesn't mean that it's the end of a relationship because you have a disagreement about a particular thing. If you're having a conversation and you come from that conversation and realize, that lands a little place where I'm not comfortable with, that's a whole different thing. But I think that going back to your initial point is to agree on everything, check the yes box on everything. That's not going to make you have a very healthy relationship or a happy relationship as well.
And it is an extreme for our single friends. It is an extreme sign of maturity.
Yeah.
When you know how to manage conflict well.
Yes.
When you are a person who doesn't just run, who doesn't just leave, who doesn't just go silent, who doesn't ghost the other person because there is discomfort or because there is a conflict, it is a sign of maturity. And it is a sign that you are willing and you are ready to do the work that comes with having a relationship.
And that word work is key, family. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me break it down. People and work in a relationship.
And you know what? I think it's because, so let's just be real. Can we just be real?
Go ahead.
I think this idea of work just conjures up so many negative feelings.
Yeah.
It's like I gotta work at work.
Yeah.
I gotta work with, my kids. I gotta work with all of these other areas of my life. Like, I just want to be in a relationship that's easy.
Yeah.
I want to be in a relationship where it's not no drama, where it's not no stress. And those are signs that you're my person.
Yeah.
If you bring less drama, less stress, less conflict, less challenge to my life, then it's a sign that you're my person. But how many of you can attest that maybe, just maybe, you let go of relationships a little bit too quick, a little bit too early?
Wow.
Because there was a sign of trouble, and it could have been resolved.
Yeah.
So in our title tonight, we're talking about how to recover, but there's also this element of repair, right? Like, you got to learn we teach couples, and like I said, we have all of these couples that come to us. We do all of this coaching, all of this counseling, and we tell them, no, go ahead and fight. Just fight fair.
Yeah.
Don't talk about each other's mama. Don't elicit personal insults. Like, don't go at each other. And we're going to talk about that in these 3 steps. But if you can learn how to fight fair, if you can learn how to fight the right way, if you can learn how to address and recover from conflict the right way, if you can learn how to repair, if you have hurt someone, then that is maturity. That is growth.
Yeah.
That is proof of your own healing journey.
Yeah.
And that you are a person who is worthy and can be in a relationship with another person.
Right. Right.
And I don't want to throw that word worthy out there, haphazardly. But again, if you're not a person who's willing to go, you know what, I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was wrong, and that was all me. That had nothing to do with you. That was all me. And let's figure out how to repair and recover so that we can move forward with our relationship in a healthy way.
Yeah. And then the thing about it, when you learn to talk to a person and not at a person, you're attacking me. And some of that is you. And some of the personal things, sometimes you may have a bad day.
Right.
And then that becomes fuel for the attack or the way that you come at a person. I would want to believe that you're not intending to be that way. But when it happens, as Sheila just said, a comeback of repairing and say, today was rough.
Yeah, just tell the truth.
I'm sorry about that. I did not mean to come at you that way.
Yeah.
And you begin to repair, and then have a conversation about bringing things back to that recovery mode.
Yeah.
That's when we say work. That's what we're talking about. Because again, that word work does have a negative connotation.
Yeah.
I've had conversations with a couple of fellas, and that word work, when I say that, they suck their teeth. And I'm like, what you get in this for? Did you think this was going to be easy? If you love someone the way you love somebody, the way you say you love somebody, the way they make you feel,
like say you love me. Why you
the way they
like
make you feel outside of anyway, the way they make you feel,
Michael Jackson.
then you can put in the energy, the positive energy,
yes,
into doing what's necessary to make the relationship work.
Yes.
That's what we mean by saying the word work.
Yeah.
And so when you're having these conversations these situations where things come up and you might be on different pages and it gets to a contentious debate, heated debate,
heated fellowship. Yes.
The key again is coming around and getting to the point of, okay, pause, time out. Let's repair this and let's not come at each other. Let's recover from where we are and build and have a conversation. Find ways in which we can agree to disagree if necessary. But you can walk away from a disagreement saying we don't both agree. We don't see this the same way, but not be mad at each other. You might not like it. If he has her opinion, she has her opinion, she has her opinion, then that's what it is. That's their opinion. But to have two separate opinions and to be at each other because you think that opinion is wrong, that's that person's opinion. We like to change people's opinion. We do. We're really into that, this culture. But it's a thing of just really, we want to talk again about recovering from a fight.
Yeah. So we have 3 points in a conclusion that we're going to quickly get to.
Not a conclusion.
Yeah, because, we're trained that way. So we're going to do 3 points in a conclusion. But there are some ground rules that we want to lay down. So the first one is that if you are in the midst of conflict, it is okay to tap out. And this is one of those things that we teach couples, that if everybody is on 10 and everybody is yelling, nothing gets heard, nothing gets resolved. And so sometimes, family, it is absolutely appropriate to say, we're not going to get anywhere right now because you're on 10 and I'm on 10.
So that's what you mean.
And I mean the scale of 1 to 10. Like if you're on 10 and your partner is on 10, that might be the time to say, we're both on 10. We're not going to agree. We're not going to get to a resolution. So we need to tap out. And cool down.
So what I want to make sure everybody understands what you mean by tap out. I mean, for those of you watching on YouTube, I'm tapping on top of my head. Any of you fellas, sports, you see somebody tapping their helmet on the top of their head, I'm tired or something's wrong. I need to tap out, bring in a replacement. So when you say tap out.
So when I say tap out, it means we both agree that right now we are too emotional
It's good.
We are too high strung.
Yeah.
We are going to hurt each other.
Yeah.
We're not going to get to a resolution. And rather than further the hurt,
Yeah.
rather than further the pain, let's tap out for 24 hours and come back to this when we both have a cooler head. So we are big on this with couples that we coach because conflict is inevitable. Drama, stress, and strain are going to come. Reasons to disagree are going to come. But if you know that you are in relationship with somebody who immediately has a propensity to go to 10 with their
Real
temper,
fast.
their anger is not manageable, or they can send you somewhere. Because sometimes it's he's got the silent treatment and that sends me to 10.
Yeah.
Okay. So you got to know which one of you is the person that will take it further than it needs to go in the moment. And you have to set some ground rules. So we teach people how to fight, like set some ground rules in the beginning. Set some ground rules in the beginning so that you don't have extra things to apologize for. Because sometimes what will happen is you get so lost in how you approach the problem that the problem never gets resolved.
Ooh.
You forget what you were actually fighting about, and now you're fighting about the approach. You're fighting about how you came at me. You're fighting about what you said. And the actual thing that caused the conflict never gets resolved. So in this foundational piece, we want to make sure that you have your mechanism, your method, your process for how to tap out. And tap out doesn't mean we're never going to address this again. Tap out doesn't mean I don't acknowledge the pain, the suffering that you're in. It just means that for the next 24 hours, we teach don't go more than 3 days. We teach don't go more than 3 days. But for the next 24 hours, I'm going to collect myself.
Yeah.
Because what I don't want to do is attack you personally. I don't want to hurt you because of this incident. We need 24 hours to cool off, calm down, collect our thoughts so that we address the actual problem instead of addressing what we said to one another, right?
Yeah.
I think the other thing foundationally is that we do this cool down, this tap out, and then the other one is that we decide that we are going to talk about it.
Yeah. Make a decision, conscious
Make
decision.
a decision.
Yeah.
Like we can't talk about this right now, but this is going to be addressed. We are going to talk about it. We are not going to sweep this under the rug. We are going to create safety and space for us to talk about this thing.
Right.
But right now just might not be
Right.
the thing. Right. And with that can come an apology. Like if the lash out was immediate, say, okay, we need to tap out. I apologize for what I said. I want us to address what actually happened as opposed to how we're talking to each other right now. So let's just tap out for 24 hours. Let's come back to this after dinner, after the kids are in bed, after whatever the thing is, right? After whatever the thing is that gets you to a place of peace.
Right.
Within 24 hours, let's come back to this and let's have a conversation.
And use that time to positively process
Yes.
what happened.
Without adding extra things from the
Yeah,
past.
yeah.
Stick to what's at hand.
In the moment, this situation, not stuff that happened 2 days ago when you didn't take the trash out.
Or 2 years ago.
Or 2 years ago. And I think when you're processing and you think even your own emotions, if you ask yourself what made me go to 10, and then when you come back together, you might have that conversation about when you hit a button when after you have come to the point where you've come to a resolution about what you initially disagreed upon. Conversation can happen about. I just want to touch on the fact that when you said XYZ, I felt it's all about how you felt, not the accusatory, but it hit a nerve with me. And if you feel like you want to share why, then do so. But the thing about that time when you are calming down, processing it in a positive way, and trying to get yourself in a space where you can calmly work to come together to have that conversation to recover.
Okay. You ready to get into it?
I'm ready.
Because we just laid down a whole lot of stuff. But we want to go ahead and get to these 3 tips regarding recovery. And we do want to, you know, acknowledge the fact that once you repair, then you can recover. So we're saying recovery, but repair has to happen, and repair is that apology. Repair is that acknowledgement of pain, that acknowledgement of, you know what, I went too far with my words.
Yeah.
And I love you. And I'm sorry for how I hurt you in trying to express myself.
Yeah.
But let's get back to what this was actually about so that we're not caught up in how we hurt each other with our words in trying to discuss it, that we dismiss or we lose sight of what the actual issue was in the first place. Okay.
Yeah.
So, again, that was a whole lot, family. And we know,
Yeah.
because this is where we go with this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And just to be honest, like, I think another thing to add, I'm sorry to keep adding stuff before we get to the points, but another thing to add, because I think people look at us, and we talk about this all the time. People look at us and they think relationship goals, #goals, right? And that's not fair because people don't live with us. And so they don't know what actually happens. We do actually love each other and we do actually like each other, but that does not mean that we live with the absence of conflict.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that we live with the absence of not having to, you know, do as we say and live this thing out. Like, we have to do this work too. We have to stay on top of this kind of stuff ourselves. But this idea that people have around low expectations of conflict is just one of those things, honey. Disney is not at your house. Whoa. Disney is not at your address. And if you are living in Real Housewives of Atlanta, if you are still living in Bold and the Beautiful, if you are still living in Young and the Restless and General Hospital, if you are still living in these soap operas and expecting your relationship to mimic or look like that, that is the first deconstruction of reality that has to happen.
Deconstruction.
You are going to have conflict. There is going to be disagreement. The question is, do you have the tools, strategies, and tips to fight well so that you can repair and recover? And that's what this conversation, that's what this soulful conversation is about. So, number one is remember that you're on the same team. Family, it does not matter what the situation is, what the problem is, what the conflict is. If in that time of tapping out, you can remember, wait a minute, we are on the same team. I don't care if you're fighting about in-laws, outlaws, kids, jobs, money, social media, who's dropping in whose DMs. Wait a minute and remember, we're on the same team.
Same team.
We're on the same team. We're not adversaries. We're partners. We are partners and we are on the same team. And if you can get yourself to the place where you create some space to remember that, it kind of de-escalates whatever the conflict is. Because usually the conflict is meant to kill, steal, and destroy. Yeah. But if in that you can remember, wait a minute, hold up, whatever this is, it's meant to make us forget. It's meant to distract us from the fact that we are on the same team. I don't care what happens. I don't care who says what. We are on the same team and we're in this together.
Yeah, because the trick of the confrontation is to make you adversaries. That's the trick of the confrontation. Yeah. But you remember it again, same team.
We're on the same team. Okay, so that's number one. We're on the same team. Number two, when you tap out, when you take that 24 hours, when you come back together, remember that the goal is to attack the problem and not each other.
Wow.
This is not the time. See, so once you tap out, don't come back talking about his mama. Don't come back talking about the towel he left on the floor. Don't come back talking about all the other ways that he's hurt you, done it again, blah, blah, blah. What's the problem? Yeah. What's the problem that started this? Let's resolve. let's repair, and let's recover. Let's resolve, let's repair, and let's recover. And let me write that down. Let me tell you,
She's
let me
actually
tell
writing it
you,
down, y'all.
let me tell you why.
Why? Why she writes it down?
Okay, let me tell you why there has to be a resolution to the issue, because if not, similar situations will arise that cause you to repeat the lesson that you refused to learn the first time the issue came up. So you got to get to a place of resolution. How are we going to resolve this thing about money? We keep fighting about money. Let's go ahead and resolve this. Is the resolution that we have a household budget and then we both have a kiddie fund? Where you get to spend $100 a month and I get to spend $100 a month, and I don't ask you what you did with your $100 and you don't ask me what I did with my $100. Like, figure out what is the resolution.
Right.
Because if you don't, you will keep fighting about iterations of the same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again.
And a key part of that is taking responsibility.
Oh my gosh.
For your actions.
For your part.
Your part.
Your
that
part
was my
in
next
it.
piece. Your part in it. Because if you were talking about a household budgetary issue, and you've had that conversation, and you go against the conversation, not against your spouse, not against your partner, but if you go against the agreed upon conversation,
The resolution.
you're wrong.
Oh, babe.
You're wrong.
Oh, okay.
If you both have had a conversation and you agree
True,
that you are
but
doing,
that just sounded so harsh.
hey, you you agreed that.
See, y'all be thinking I'm aggressive and Frank is sweet. I promise you, he just brung the heat that time.
But no, I'm just saying, if there's a conversation in a relationship and you have had a civil conversation and have made an agreement about a thing, and then someone in the relationship does the opposite,
They
they're wrong.
violated.
They're
Yeah.
violated. We agree.
So
on
you are
this.
violating the resolution, and that's the thing. Like,
Out of
people
order.
fight about you are
Out of order.
I'm sorry, out of order. Our daughter Zion does that. Out of order. Okay, so hey Zion. So yes, the purpose of the conflict, or the way to combat the conflict, is to come to a resolution. You
Yeah.
need a resolution. And here's the thing, family. The resolution requires that you come out of your corner of rightness, and your partner comes out of their corner of rightness, and you meet somewhere in the middle. It's called compromise. It's called compromise,
Big
right?
C word.
So you get to the space of resolution, and you decide, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to move. And if we need to adjust, we'll adjust.
Yeah.
But right now, to eliminate any further consequence of this particular conflict, we are going to resolve that these are the actions that we're going to take. Case in point, social media. If that's a conflict, if that's an issue in your relationship, you always on social media. Who's dropping in your DMs? Who are you talking to all the time? Why are you always on your phone? If you come out of your corner of rightness and your partner comes out of his corner of rightness, and the resolution is that at 10 p.m. we're going to leave our phones on the charging station.
Yeah.
Then do that. Like he said. And then if you violate that,
You're wrong.
then you need to be held accountable, is what I was gonna say. But he said you wrong. So see what I'm saying, family? Like, there is a resolution. Like, you can be so deep in your corner that you don't think there's a solution. And there is. There is. You just gotta give, and your partner has to give. And in that giving, it produces a result. It produces a resolve. And if you can get to the resolve and honor and respect the resolve, then you can repair.
Yeah.
And you can recover.
And since we're
God help me today.
Since this just came to my mind. Yeah. I want to ask, we have this in the church, we say, I beseech you, brethren. I just want to ask couples, family, can we please stop fussing over social media?
Please.
Can we please stop? Can we be careful and mindful of each other with our posts? Yeah. This is not a platform to throw shade, innuendos. Have that conversation. I don't want to know. Your friends don't want to know. have that conversation with the
with
person.
each other.
With each other.
And stop airing it on social
Exactly.
media. Exactly.
And if it's your birthday and you didn't get that lovey-dovey post on social media, that's a conversation. But don't fight about it.
Don't fight about it.
Don't fight about it. Please stop, because it causes. We're talking about disagreements and fights. We know of several fights that have been come over anniversary and birthday. Now the brother,
Holidays, all
the
of
brother
that.
may not have the language,
The eloquence
the
of
eloquence
speech.
of speech
Right.
to do that. You know your man. So
Can I give can I give a tip to the brothers though?
sure, go ahead.
So, bros, let me come close. That's my thing now. Come close. Listen to your auntie. Listen to your auntie. Listen to your auntie. If you know that you are partnered with someone whose love language is words of affirmation and you struggle with the words, go to Hallmark store. Go to the Hallmark store. Go to CVS, Walgreens, somewhere, who is not a sponsor of this here program, but go to one of them people. Go to one of them stores. And I want you to invest the time of standing there to read those cards. Because let me tell you, every card Frank has given me, I still got it.
Yeah, I got him too.
Now, granted, Frank is the bomb.com with the words, right? Like, he ain't got no problem with writing the word. But if that's a struggle for you, don't neglect that aspect of your partner, because that's a need for her. That's a need for him. And ladies, for you too. If words ain't your thing, go on over to the drugstore and get you some cards that say all the things that you don't know how to say and give it to them. Okay? This is also part of repair. If you know that your words have been hurtful, then go buy you some words that will help you repair.
But let me say this on that. Please make sure that there is a sense of repair and recovery. Because let me tell you something. When you standing in Walgreens trying to find a card and you mad,
Ooh.
you're not going to find, I'm mad at you right now.
Yeah, they don't make them
They
kind
don't
of
make
cards. Blue Mountain don't make the cards
and
that
the
say,
mahogany, none of them people.
I'm as sick of
But
you.
my point is this, really, it is really hard to go find a card that says what you're really feeling in your heart if you are not in a good place. Now, if you just buy one just 'cause, that's on you. But if you are really trying to get a card from the heart, you're going to go through every card in that catalog at Walmart, CVS, wherever you're looking. So that's why we go back and get into coming to a point of recovering from the fight and agreeing on things to get yourself in a place where you're in a healthy position.
Okay, so we're going to go back to up to the top because we got one more. We got, remember that you're on this. First of all, we want you to cool down, tap out, apologize, and agree to come back in 24 hours, because avoidance is not a solution. Avoiding the conversation does not fix anything. And it sends the wrong message. It sends a message that you don't care.
Yeah.
It sends a message that this is not as important to you as it is to your partner. So don't do avoidance. Don't do avoidance. Figure out. And these are the things that you need to talk about when times are good.
Yeah.
Please talk about how you're going to fight fair when times is good. Don't wait till y'all in the heat of the conflict to try to figure out how we going to do this now. No, do it when things are good. Do it when times are good. Make this a date night conversation so that you have the rules of engagement, so that when conflict comes up, you revert back to your rules and you don't revert back to your dysfunctional behaviors. I'm going to call your behaviors dysfunctional. Okay. So remember, so the points are, so all of that, cool down, apologize, agree to come back in 24 hours, tap out, all of that stuff. Avoidance is not a solution. That's the foundation that we laid for this conversation around how to recover from a fight. Our 3 points are: remember that you're on the same team. You are not adversaries. You are partners. Remember that, right? Number 2 was attack the problem and not each other. Don't go at each other's throats. Don't call each other out of each other's name. Don't do that kind of stuff. Attack the problem. What was the initial issue?
Yeah.
And let's attack that together.
Stick to the issue.
Stick to the issue, right? So Our number 3 is seek to recover or seek to repair or recover over being right. So family, let me tell you something. And we got some couples in this space right now. They would rather be right than reconcile. You got to choose. Do you want to reconcile or do you want to be right? And what is the consequence if you choose that you just want to be right? Because if you just want to be right, reconciliation might not happen. And what ends up happening is your partner and you collect issues, collect words, collect marbles from the conflict to throw at each other later. You just start stockpiling marbles and then later you throw them at one another. Why? Because you actually didn't reconcile from the last thing. When a person just says, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and let you have that. I'm going to just go ahead and let you. That is not reconciliation. That is, I'm just going to bow out and let you be right. That's not reconciliation, family. Like, we got to learn these terms. We got to understand what this means. And we have to understand and learn the consequences of letting stuff go.
Yeah.
We don't think that you should just let stuff go. We think that you should just talk about it in a healthy way.
Yes.
It's not about just, well, I'm going to just let you have that. Or I'm going to just let that go. Or I don't want to cause no conflict, or I don't want no drama, so I'm just going to let that go. No, if it is a legit conflict, it needs to be resolved.
It does.
It just needs to be resolved in a healthy way. And so what we're saying, what we're suggesting, what we are admonishing, what we are praying that you do is follow these tips around don't fight angry. Tap out if you need to. Come back to the issue. Right? Come back to the issue because you're on the same team.
Yeah.
Attack that problem. What is the problem? Is the problem spending? Is the problem money? Is the problem social media? Is the problem flirtation? Is the problem, oh, you work too much? Like, what is the problem? What is the actual problem? Let's talk about that. Let's not talk about your mama.
Like,
let's
how did
not
we
talk
get
about
here?
Yeah, let's talk about how we got here. And then let's work toward resolution, reconciliation, repair. And then this is the thing, because my word for 2022 was recover. And so that's why that's a big word for me. It was recover. We lost so much.
Yeah.
From 2019, because I'm gonna call it before the pandemic. We lost so much from 2019 to 2022 that I personally felt like the Lord had given me the word recover. It was time to recover. Recover all. It was time to recover my sense of self. It was time to recover my relationships with other people that had maybe grown cold because we were sheltering in place and we weren't together. It was time to recover my instincts in the Word of God. It was time to recover my time of prayer. It was time to recover intimacy and depth of my relationships with my family, that kind of thing. Recover is a word that you deserve to explore in your private time, in your quiet time. What do you need to recover? What have you lost in your relationship with your spouse? Is it trust?
Good question.
Is it trust? Is it intimacy? Is it love? Is it faith? Have you lost faith in your partner? Like, what do you need to recover? Sit with that.
Yeah.
And then let that be the conversation. Not that you left the trash, you didn't take the trash bin to the curb. Not that you left your towel on the floor. Because let me tell you something, family. The enemy will have us fighting over things that don't matter.
Yeah.
The enemy will have us fighting over things that don't matter, but they are significant of things that do matter.
Yeah.
Because if you keep leaving your towel on the floor after I keep saying that irritates me, then I can take that to mean that you don't care about what matters to me when that's not what the issue is.
Right.
Right? So we got to get clear, family. Let's get clear. And you do that in 15 minutes of grace. You do that in your devotional time. You do that in that quiet time where you start to realize, wait a minute, it's the disease, not the symptom. Let's heal we can treat symptoms and not heal the disease. Let's heal the disease. Like, what's really wrong here? What's really at the bottom of this thing? And let's get to that instead of fussing about how you talk to me, what you say. Now, that does not mean disrespect. Be disrespectful. Don't be rude and don't be disrespectful. Auntie Sheila said, do not be rude and disrespectful in your communication while you are figuring this out. But the idea here is for us to give you some tools, because hopefully what you learned in this podcast is that maybe I'm not fighting about what I really should be fighting for.
Right.
You could be fighting about things and miss what you should be fighting for. And what you should be fighting for is closeness, is connectivity, is intimacy, is repair, is recovery, is reconciliation. And you fighting about the socks on the floor. You fighting about the towel on the bathroom floor. You fighting about the trash not going out. Those are the symptoms. But what's up under that is the dis-ease that you feel when things are not right between you and your partner. So please, family, take some time, slow down, calm down, and let's have a soulful conversation with each other and with your partner about what's really wrong. Because, family, we know that if you can get to the bottom of a thing, if you can get to the root of a thing, you can pull it out.
And let me just say, as it relates to getting to the root of a thing, start with you. Ask yourself, what
you mad for?
do I need to recover?
Yes.
What do I need to recover? Or
have I
as you
lost?
look at your relationship, what are we missing? Asking yourself that, not your significant other. What are we missing? And be prayerful about, God, show me what we are missing.
What did we lose?
What did we lose? And then begin to work towards one another in finding out what that is. Yeah. You know, because if you come to someone and say, I don't know what's wrong with us, something missing, that approach is not going to get you anywhere. But when you take time to sit with that and allow God to give you some sense of direction, hopefully understanding about how to move forward in the relationship to that place of peace, because you got to have that place of peace. Not saying there's going to be peace all the time, but recovery is about having a sense of peace. And that's the goal that you're trying to get to. But sitting with that, and I think a lot of times we want to go to the other person, accusatory, your fault, you did this, why?
You said this. You hurt my feelings.
When you come back to you and ask yourself, you know, and that relates to sometimes what I said a few minutes ago about the taking ownership and responsibility. And you know what? If you get to a place where you see you are wrong, forgiveness. Forgiveness.
It's the greatest gift.
It is.
But it's the greatest gift you give yourself.
Exactly.
You think forgiveness is about the other
exactly.
person, and it's not. The forgiveness
Exactly.
is about you. You know, there used to be a thing that went out around a couple of years ago that said, you know, unforgiveness is like you swallowing the poison and expecting someone else to die. Like, at some point, you got to get to the place where you recognize the value of peace and the value of forgiveness and how valuable those things are to you.
Yeah.
It is not about the other person. In that respect, it is not about the other person.
Yeah.
We tell people that we don't fight. And I think part of that is just time. You know, after you've been with somebody long enough, you just like, you know what? And I will always want to be careful that when we don't fight, it's not about avoidance.
Yeah.
But that it actually is about maturity. It really is about, wait a minute, let me check me first.
Yeah, and that's
check
what
me first.
that's
Let me
where
go
it
to me
starts.
first. Let me look in the mirror first before I go lashing out at him. Let me look in the mirror
That's
first.
where it starts.
And so what we're asking, family, is that you not wait until you've been together 25 years before you discover that truth.
Yeah.
Like, do that now. Do that while you're dating. Practice the art of self-reflection now. Single people, practice the art of self-reflection now. Figure out what's you. And if the only context that you have is at work or with your girlfriends or in your community, figure that out first before you get into a relationship, because you can get it twisted and think that these things are about somebody else and the changes that they need to make without doing that self-reflection and that inner work on yourself. But family, we're going to stop. Because we could go there on this.
We
This
got
episode,
our three.
we got our three.
We went a little longer
This
than we
episode,
wanted to,
yeah.
but we was feeling it, family.
We was feeling
y'all
it, family, because we got so many couples.
Thank you all
oh my
for
gosh.
bearing with us.
Yes,
Thank you.
yes.
Thank you so much.
This episode,
if you made it this far, God bless you.
God bless you, sugar. This episode is about how to recover from a fight or how to recover from conflict.
Yeah.
And our groundwork is that you cool down, that you tap out, that you apologize, the tap out is about agreeing to come back in 24 hours. Don't let this, they used to say, the Bible says, don't let the sun go down on your wrath.
I live by that.
And some people can't do that because they stewing and they brewing. And so the advice for us is, if you let the sun go down, don't let 24 hours go by. Yeah. Come back to each other, have the conversation. And that avoidance is not a solution. Just saying, you know what, I'm gonna just let that go. It is what it is, whatever. That's not a resolution, right? Yeah. But our 3 points are: remember that you're on the same team, whether you are dating, seriously in a committed relationship, or married. Whatever stage of coupleness that you're in, whatever the stage of your relationship is, start practicing these principles now. Do not wait until you get married to start figuring out that you're on the same team. Do that now, right? Now. Attack the problem. Number 2 is attack the problem and not each other. You do not have to slit each other's throat to get to resolution, okay? And number 3 is about be willing to reconcile over being right. Yes. This is not about you being right. It is about, how do I reconcile this relationship? And in reconciliation, we believe that you have to have a resolution that you then can repair, and then you recover. You recover the love, you recover the trust, you recover the time, you recover the intimacy once you have repaired what went wrong.
What's up, family? From our hearts to your ears.
Yes.
Please hear us. We thank you all for listening.
Yes.
Whether you're listening on your favorite podcast app or watching on YouTube. We appreciate you
so much.
I am Frank.
And I am Sheila Battle.
And this has been another episode of Soulful Conversation with Frank and Sheila.
Take care, family, and be well.
Be well. We love you all.
Stay soulful.
Stay soulful.
Bye, family.
See you next time.